Who is the highest earner from every championship club? That's what we're going to be discussing in today's video, and boy is there a big discrepancy between the lowest earners and top earners. All the data gathered for today's video is from Salary Sport. I'll leave a link to that website in the description down below. And let me tell you, some of these salaries may shock you. If you do going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, but without any further ado, let's jump in. At Birmingham, there's a two-way tie for their top earner between Neil Etheridge and Scott Hogan, both players taking home 20 grand a week based on their current deals. Not the best business sense probably from Blues. Etheridge doesn't get much of a kick these days, he's often sat on the bench, and Scott Hogan, I think, definitely past his peak. Just one goal this season for the forward, and that's despite being paid the big bucks by Birmingham. Switching over to Blackburn Rovers, their top earner is currently Arnor Sigurdsson, with the playmaker taking home a package of 18 grand a week. He is closely followed by Dom Hyam and Sam Gallagher, those two players taking home 17 and 16 grand a week, but the Icelandic star is currently their top earner. Bristol City's highest earner, it used to be Andy Vyman, but since he's headed out on loan to West Brom, I'm sure they'll be covering some of that wage. With him out the picture, their top earner is now Jason Knight, the summer signing. He's taking home 15 grand a week, although he's closely followed by Naki Wells, who's on 14 grand right now. In at Cardiff, their top earner is Josh Bowler. He's obviously on loan from Nottingham Forest, and based on that contract at Forest, he's on 30 grand a week. On his day, can be a game changer, obviously a very silky dribbler on the ball, Bowler, but I'd be interested to know how much of that wage Cardiff are actually covering. The highest earning player at Cardiff who's not on loan is Aaron Ramsey, unsurprisingly, according to Salary Sport, on 24 grand a week. Coventry's highest earner is summer signing Hadji Wright. According to the data in front of me, he's taking home 21 grand a week, although I'm sure that'll be bumped up a little bit more with goal bonuses added on top and everything like that. 10 goals and 5 assists for the USA forward so far, which I'd say is a reasonable return. Huddersfield's top earner is Delano Borgzog, who's currently on loan. He's on 15 grand a week and is way out in front as their top earner according to these numbers. The highest earning player who's a permanent player at the club is Jonathan Hogg, taking home £9,100 per week. Hull City's top earner is now Fabio Carvalho, the Liverpool loanee, taking home £52,000 a week based on the contract he's on at Liverpool. Would be interested to know how much of that wage Hull themselves are actually covering. Obviously, after Carvalho got that big move from Fulham to Liverpool, they obviously handed him a highly lucrative contract, and compared to a lot of the other players at Hull City, he is way out in front. The highest earning player who's a permanent member of that squad at Hull is Seri. He's on 22 grand a week, which is, yeah, not much compared to what Carvalho's on. Another crazy one here from Ipswich Town, Brandon Williams taking home 53 grand a week. The Man United loanee has obviously had a bit of a frustrating campaign, all things considered, with an injury layover. Once again, I couldn't imagine Ipswich would be covering much of that wage. His contract with Man United does expire at the end of the season, and wherever he ends up next, I can't imagine he'll get anywhere near that sort of money. In at Leeds United, it's Patrick Bamford as their top earner. Now, while Leeds were in the Premier League, they quite cleverly inserted a lot of relegation clauses into a lot of their players' contracts where their wages would automatically halve when they come down to the Championship. That was the case with Bamford, who was reportedly earning 80 grand a week while Leeds were still kicking it in the top flight. His wage has since been cut in half, but he's still the top earner at the club with that wage packet. They've got a few other earners who are in and around that sort of wage as well. Ethan Ampadu reportedly on 37 grand a week, Joe Rodon on 35. No surprises whatsoever. Leicester City's top earner, of course, it's Jamie Vardy. Everything he's done for that club, this one won't come as that much of a surprise. Now, unlike Leeds United, Leicester maybe weren't as smart with some of their clauses in their contracts by not having those sort of relegation clauses added in there. Jamie Vardy still taking home 80 grand a week. That does make him the outright top earner in the Championship, and Leicester have quite a few other earners who are all on over 60 grand a week, which is, you know, absolutely massive when compared to a lot of other Championship clubs. I think this being a reason why a lot of people maybe expected Leicester to walk the league this season, because they have such an inflated wage bill compared to a lot of the league. You've also got the likes of Harry Winks, James Justin, Iheanacho and Pereira all earning over 60 grand a week as well. In his Middlesbrough's top earner, it's loanee Lewis O'Brien taking home £45,000 per week. He's obviously on loan from Nottingham Forest right now. The move to Forest hasn't really worked out for him. He had that move to the MLS on loan last season and now obviously finds himself at the Riverside. Of the players that are at Borough on a permanent basis, Daryl Lenihan's their top earner on 26 grand a week. Millwall's top earner, according to Salary Sport, is Luton loanee Alan Campbell on £18,000 a week right now. Of the players that are at Millwall on a permanent basis, you've then got the likes of Judge Saville, Jake Cooper and Joe Bryan, who are all amongst their top earners as well. I was quite taken aback when I saw this one from Norwich, but their top earner is Ben Gibson on 43 grand a week. Now, Norwich signed Gibson while they were in the Premier League and obviously handed him a highly lucrative contract that's worthy of sort of a Premier League defender, but he's way out in front as their top earner right now. He's actually earning 12 more grand a week than Gabriel Sara is. Compared to a lot of Championship clubs, Plymouth have quite a modest wage bill. You'd expect that with a club coming up from League One to the Championship. Their top earner right now being Ballymumba on £9,500 a week. Obviously a summer signing who's done very well for Plymouth. I'm sure if they do establish themselves as a Championship club this season and continue to build, their wage bill will gradually rise upon that. Preston's top earner at this point in time is captain Alan Brown. He's taken home a reported £19,000 per week. Now Brown is out of contract at the end of the season, and I think I'm saying it for all Preston fans, we got our fingers crossed that he will pen a contract extension in the coming months. For me, probably been our most consistent performer this season. Really do think he stepped up to the plate this season, and to have a player of that experience in the squad, I think it's vital that we don't lose him. Worth pointing out that he has been offered a contract by the club, but he's yet to sign it. Very surprised to learn that QPR's top earner is reportedly Steve Cook, earning way more than anyone else in the squad. Based on the Salary Sport numbers, taking home 28 grand a week. In comparison to that, their next top earners are the likes of Andre Dazelle, Ilias Chair and Lyndon Dykes, all taking home around 11 to 13 grand a week. Rotherham United's top earner is Cafu. It's quite a tight one with Rotherham between him and Jordan Hugill, but Cafu taking home a reported £8,400 per week is just £300 more than Hugill's get him. Obviously those numbers according to Salary Sport. I'm sure that there'll be a few bonuses that bump their overall deals up. Crazy money from Sheffield Wednesday here, their top earner being Jeff Hendrick, the Newcastle loanee, who's taking home a ridiculous 50 grand a week. Obviously a Premier League contract that I can't imagine Sheffield Wednesday are covering all too much of that. Unsurprisingly, of the players that Wednesday have got on a permanent basis, Barry Bannon is their top earner, taking home a reported £23,000 a week. Southampton's top earner is Ryan Fraser, also on loan from Newcastle. He's getting a whopping £63,000 a week right now. Has been very good, to be fair, for Southampton this season and has scored a lot of important goals. The baffling news to tell Southampton fans though is in the first half of the season, Mason Holgate was your top earner, obviously on loan from Everton, taking home a ridiculous £69,000 a week. Not sure what Everton were thinking giving him that contract. With Stoke City, their top earner is reportedly Ben Pearson, taking home 28 grand a week. Obviously they bought him in from Bournemouth, where I would imagine he was on a similarly decent contract. Well, I'm sure he has to pay a few fines on top of that for the amount of times he's suspended. Along with Pearson, a lot of their other summer signings are in and amongst their top earners as well. Was very surprised to learn that Sunderland's top earner is Bradley Dack. He's earning more than the likes of Jack Clark, Dan Ballard and Dan Neil, with Dack reportedly getting 18 grand a week. Now Dack did sign on a free transfer on an initial 1-year deal, and often when that's the case, a player's wages will be bumped up a little bit more as there was no transfer fee involved. But still, I definitely wouldn't have guessed that if I didn't look into the numbers. Swansea City's top earner is Chelsea loanee Bashir Humphreys, way out in front, earning £33,000 a week. Fellow loanee Jamal Lowe's also amongst their top earners on 25 grand, and then you've got Matt Grimes on 24 as their third top earner. We've had quite a few Newcastle loanees making up the top earners of Championship clubs, and that's the case with Watford, with Jamal Lewis taking home 50 grand a week. During the Mike Ashley era, Newcastle were handing out some really lucrative contracts. Of the players that are at Watford on a permanent basis, their top earners reportedly Tom Ince, taking home 27 grand a week. And then to finish off today's video with West Brom, their top earner is Okay Yokuşlu. Have to admit, I am a big fan of the Turkish midfielder, really good at bossing that midfield for the Baggies, and I think a large reason for why they've been so defensively solid this season. He's taking home 29 grand a week, which puts him on top of their wage earnings. But guys, there you have it. That will wrap it up for today's video. There was every Championship Championship club's top earner according to Salary Sport. Any surprises for you in there? Do let me know down below. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one.